6.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. Welcome to this extended edition of Mountain News. A month's worth of rain finally caught up to us. More than half a dozen counties have declared a state of emergency, and one of the worst hit areas is in Magoffin County. Our sister station, WKYT, flew over Salyersville today. You can see how much water those folks are having to deal with. We're going to begin there tonight, where officials say flooded creeks and streets left behind a mess for officials to deal with. WYMT's Will Puckett begins our live team coverage. Will?
Steve, yeah, you can see that mess that rain has left behind right behind me here in Salyersville. Let's take a look at some of the pictures that I was sent by County Judge Executive Matthew Wireman. He shared these with me of damage across the county. Roads washed out, bridges removed from their moorings, washed feet down, raging rivers and streams. This morning, many were out picking up the pieces and washing away mud and debris that left the county in a state of emergency.
With this enormous amount of rain that we've experienced over the last 24 hours, I've got no less than 7 mudslides on county roads that making those roads impassable. I've got 24 roads right here that are impassable in one way or another.
Steve, now County Judge Executive Wireman asks that anybody who has damage to call his office. He called in everybody on his staff today to field those phone calls. He also says that you can message them on their Facebook page if you have any damage at all and need assistance. That was the entire reason why he filed for that state of emergency, to hopefully free up more funds for them to fix some things. Now, talking about that damage here in Magoffin County and Salyersville, many within the city of Salyersville are worried about the town's oldest building. The Renaissance building was built around 1902. Many hours of work has helped restore the building to the condition it's in today. However, the flooding has caused some major flooring issues inside. City Fire Chief Paul Howard says he worries that they may not have enough funding to fix the damage.
And limited funds to keep this open. You have to get grants and stuff. It's not like it's a funded agency.
Now, the Renaissance building is located downtown Marianne. You actually went there today and got a look at it. On top of that, it's a Sunday, and many of the churches around Salyersville and Magoffin County were struggling to pick up the pieces that they had left behind to deal with.
Exactly, Will. Multiple churches were not able to have their normal services this morning. However, I talked with a few members who say they still worshiped, just in a different way. A community coming together.
And we kept praying it quit raining. It did slow down, but it did continue to rain some. The water began to rise.
Doug Dunn is the pastor of Burning Fork Community Church. He says as floodwaters filled their floor, he knew he needed to act fast.
The first thing was to just get the water out of the church.
Next, Sunday morning members put on their boots, going to work to clean up the mess.
We're grateful for all the help we've got.
Even members of other churches came out.
You can definitely see the Spirit of the Lord work in people when they come together.
David Jackson is a member of Salyersville Free Will Baptist Church.
We need to have a big cleanup because it's going to be a big thing to complete.
In this photo, you can see water nearly reaching the pews. Less than 12 hours later, you can see the fruits of their labor.
We just come together as a team in the Spirit of the Lord to try to help clean up and get the church back up and running again.
Pastor Dunn says it's all because of the help of so many.
We can worship God in many ways, and we worship God and we serve God by serving people.
As they give thanks, even in their time of need. Now, both churches say they hope to have their regular services going again soon.
Now, Marianne, actually, I rolled up while you were doing that story and was talking to a couple of the members outside. And actually, the water there got up to an estimated about 5 feet, which is about right here at my chest level. So they definitely dealt with a lot of water. Now, Steve, we'll have much more from Salyersville, but we'll send it back to you in the studio for right now.
All right, Will and Marianne, thank you very much. Now, you might remember 7 years ago, this coming Saturday was the March 2nd, 2012 tornado outbreak. And one of several tornadoes that touched down in the state that day devastated Salyersville, as you can see by this file video. Many businesses on Restaurant Row were destroyed. Luckily, no one died in Magoffin County, like in other areas, despite the trail of destruction. Schools and homes were also damaged that day nearly 7 years ago. We'll never forget that one either. Well, this flood will make things difficult for the Johnson County Cal Ripken baseball and softball teams. Officials with the league believe it could be weeks until they can get the field back into playing condition. Here's what they look like today. The water rose up to nearly the tops of the dugouts. The school's fields, where their future Farmers of America Club plants crops, were also flooded. Now, take a look at this behind me. Ben Childers shot this drone video of the spillway at Laurel Lake, an incredible sight to see. Now, river levels, especially in the Cumberland Valley, continue to be a concern tonight. Many have still not crested. Meteorologist Paige Noel is tracking that threat. Paige?
Yeah, Steve, many of those rivers are expected to crest a little bit later tonight and even into Monday morning. We have a couple of those listed right here for you. The Cumberland River Williamsburg is expected to crest at 28.9 feet, and that's by Sunday sometime tonight. Keeping a very close eye on the Kentucky River in Ravenna. That is because that is expected to crest by late tonight, early tomorrow, and is expected to crest at major flood stage, which is 31 feet. And you can see it's expected to crest at 31.1 feet. Here are a couple other rivers that we are keeping a close eye on. The good news is once the sunshine comes in tomorrow and into your Tuesday, really after tomorrow afternoon and into the evening, we will finally start to see these rivers go down. Steve.
All right, Paige, thank you. Pike County is one of the latest counties to declare a state of emergency. They are currently in the process of assessing the damage that occurred throughout the county. Officials say there have thankfully been no injuries there. They made the emergency declaration following a large number of mudslides and downed trees. They say every part of the county has some sort of issue.
Pike County is 788 square miles, and we've got mudslides all over the county. We've got roads that have water issues all over the county, trees down all over the county, the power outages. There's a lot going on out there over the past few days.
Well, now to Floyd County. An active mudslide shut down the northbound lane of US 23 in Floyd County. Road crews diverted traffic into the southbound lane near the Ivel community. And if that sounds familiar, that's because it's just a few hundred feet from where a massive slide happened a couple of years back. WINT's Connor James joins us now live from the new slide. Connor?
Yeah, Steve, that slide that happened a couple years back took nearly 3 months to clear, and I'm told this slide is just as massive. It's actually harder to get to and on a much steeper slope. Now, crews got to this slide at around 4:30 this morning. It was blocking the road, but it was quickly pushed aside. Once crews made their way up the side of the mountain, they realized it was much worse than they originally anticipated. There were massive boulders and a lot more mud making its way down.
From what the guys have told me that have been up there, they're about the size of a pickup truck, and there's one very close to the edge that we're watching. We're going to try to get the rocks down. That's our first issue after we get traffic moved. We're going to bring the rocks off, and then we'll have to bring the mud off.
Well, they say that this is an issue all across Floyd County. They've had some slips there, some landslides as well. Yeah, Steve, in talking with crews, they really don't know when it's going to be cleared up. They really just tell me their main priority right now is just getting those massive, almost truck-sized boulders out of the way. I'm in Floyd County. Connor James, WYMT Mountain News.
All right, Connor, thank you. Lake Cumberland broke a record set back in 1984 last night, and it continues to rise. Currently, the lake is at more than 754 feet. The old record was 751. All 10 gates at the Wolf Creek Dam spillway remain open. Meanwhile, here's what Buckhorn Lake looks like here in Perry County. The Sheriff's Department shared these pictures. Jeff Riley took them with his drone. The lake is sitting at more than 825 feet, and that is about 14 feet below the record set in 1963. Now, they opened the spillway gates at Buckhorn earlier in the week, and that makes it tough for some in Leslie County. As we showed you on Thursday, the roads in and out of Confluence are underwater. There is no way in or out unless you've got a boat. And this is what the drive looked like today. Our reporter could not even come close to making it there. We will have more about this coming up in our next half hour. Also in Leslie County, a terrible story. 2 men died yesterday when a car crashed into a creek. One of those men actually jumped in to try and save the other, and both lost their lives. Today we learned a little more about them. David Stidham and Kenny Hensley. WYMT's Macy Marie talked to a pastor that knew them both.
It was an attempt of one man trying to save his friend.
It's such a loss to the whole community.
When a pickup crashed into this creek, David Stidham rushed out of his home to save the driver, who was his longtime friend, Kenny Hensley.
There's normally maybe 12 inches of water in the creek there. It's a very, very shallow spot, and it was running probably 3 to 4 feet at a very high velocity.
Those dangerous conditions taking both their lives.
I knew both of them from the time they were little boys, and I've always thought a lot of both of them. They were dear friends.
Stidham's family tells me some of them tried helping rescue the two, and where the crash happened is close to many of their homes.
Both of their families are very dear to us, and I just wanted everybody to pray for them because we really care for their families.
And Lewis wants both men remembered for the joy they brought to others.
They added a spark to people's lives that knew them,
saying they are already missed by many. In Leslie County, Macy Marie, WYMT Mountain News.
Officials say they do not know what caused Hensley to leave the road at this time. The crash happened on Stidham Drive, which is in the Wolf Creek community. Coming up on Mountain News, we'll head to Wolf County, where the Red Cross is set up to help victims, plus hear how you can help some animals.
And sunshine will return to the mountains. We'll break down that full forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
And then later on, we head back to Cumberland Falls, where dozens of people gather to check out all the water.